The Lenovo Legion Go. This is a portable Windows 11 gaming PC with AMD's Ryzen Z1 Extreme processor and AMD RDNA 3 graphics. This means that you get powerful gaming in a little package with this huge 8.8-inch Quad HD Plus touchscreen display and a 144Hz refresh rate. But hold up, let's back it up a little bit. What makes this device unique or potentially better positioned in the handheld gaming market? Well, it's full Windows 11, and even though it's definitely not built for desktop PC usage, you get access to a bunch of different platforms for your games, not just Steam. The display on here is huge and it's pretty, but also the controllers are removable, and it's only $750. Okay, I'm liking this so far, but are there any downfalls? Yes, but I think the issues are similar to many of the handheld gaming consoles that we have today. So the Lenovo Legion Go is Lenovo's first generation handheld gaming platform. In the box, you get the Legion Go, a desktop dock for one of the controllers that can turn it into an FPS joystick. There's also this nifty molded case and a power adapter, which does not fit in the case, so that's kind of annoying. I really appreciate that the Lenovo Go has USB-C 4.0 on both top and the bottom, a micro SD card slot right next to it, and there's also a mic and headphone jack. The back has a kickstand to use it in a tabletop mode, and those two USB-C ports support USB 440 gigs per second for data transfer, power delivery 3.0, Thunderbolt 4 support, and DisplayPort 1.4. The fact that we have USB-C on both top and bottom is wonderful, so if you are docking this thing with the kickstand on a table, you can leave it on the charger via that top port. It also has loud stereo speakers, which are fairly good, but I would recommend using a pair of headphones, and there's Wi-Fi and Bluetooth 5.1. Now, since this runs on Windows, that also means that I can use my favorite security keys with it as well, made by Yubico, the sponsor of this video. Just this month, a database that contained millions of 2FA codes was leaking online, which means that literally anybody could find the web address for this database and read those 6-digit codes that are sent via SMS. That included login codes for Google, WhatsApp, Facebook, and TikTok, and a lot more. Now, even though these codes expire shortly after being sent, if an attacker had access to that database and they were doing a targeted attack on you, they could use that database instead of having to go through the process of trying to steal your entire phone number in a SIM swap. Problems like this are a great reminder of why I have purchased a YubiKey. These are super easy to use. You set them up on a normal website that you use daily, and whenever you need to log in, instead of waiting for a login code to be sent to you via text message, you plug this in or you tap it on your phone if your phone has NFC. YubiKeys are inexpensive, they're cross-platform, and you can stick them on your keychain. And when it comes to security online, I always try to choose the best tools available that offer both convenience and security. Now, I have recommended YubiKeys long before they sponsored this channel, and I will continue to do so, and I have a deal just for my viewers. Go to my link at ubi.co/Shannon2024 to automatically get $5 off a YubiKey 5 NFC and watch my full 2FA playlist to learn everything you need to know about these handy little keys. That's ubi.co/Shannon2024 for $5 off, and a huge thank you to Yubico for sponsoring this episode. Now, these two controllers have Hall effect joysticks to give you excellent responsive playback, but what are Hall effect joysticks? Well, these use sensors to detect positioning through a small magnetic field. They are frictionless and they don't experience wear and tear like a potentiometer joystick would. They also eliminate drift and dead zones found in typical joysticks. But the coolest bit about these controllers is the fact that they are detachable for a unique FPS mode. You just have to press down in the lower corners to release the two controllers. Then you can turn your right controller into an ergonomic mouse for FPS mode, or you can use the two controllers handheld while your Legion Go is chilling on a tabletop. Now, I think these two controllers are a little bit too large for my hands, and the button placement at the top of the controller is kind of hard to reach whenever my thumbs are on the joysticks. The buttons on the bottom are not used in any of the games that I'm currently using and experiencing, but I am aware that they are there because sometimes I'm just randomly pressing them whenever I'm holding these controllers in my hands, especially if I'm gripping the controller rather tightly, like during an FPS shooter. I also noticed that my hands get really sweaty whenever I'm using these. They fit in your palm really well, but that gives your palms like no additional room for breathing area. There is a touchpad on the right controller, and that's a very nice addition, and it can be useful for precise Windows 11 usage or gameplay. Now, if you prefer not to use that, I suggest disabling it in the quick settings menu so that you don't accidentally touch it with your palm while you're in a game. So at the top of these two controllers are special buttons to open the Lenovo Legion Go special software and the settings. So first we have on the left side the Legion Space button, which brings up the Legion Space software, as you can see down here on the table. This is built in, and it gives you access to gaming platforms so you can buy games and you can access all your different libraries. Now, for me, this is a big selling factor over non-platform agnostic handheld devices. Since this one is Windows 11, that's great because you have access to more than just Steam. I have zero issues with the Legion Space app, and I thought that it was nicely set up and intuitive. On the other controller, you have your settings menu. So you click that and it opens up your settings menu right there. Now, I did want to mention that sometimes whenever I click that, like right now, oh, there it goes. Okay, sometimes when you press this button, it doesn't necessarily register your press, or it might take a moment to open it. So it seems a little bit slow and unresponsive in my experience. Now, I do want to take some time in here because I highly recommend that you check these settings out first thing after setting up Windows 11. So first, at the top are your performance settings. So this is where you can switch between performance mode, a power saving option, or you can also choose custom settings and you can set those up. You can also customize the TDP or the thermal mode, and you can also mess with your settings and FPS. Next is your general settings, the little gear icon. This is where you can edit your connections like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, where you can also edit the resolution, the brightness, the refresh rate, and you can also enable the frame monitor. I do currently have my FPS monitored up here in the corner. The controller key mapping is on the next page. This can be changed on that third page along with vibrations, lighting, different lighting modes. So I currently have both of my controllers set to a rainbow LED style, which I thought was very cute. And you can also enable or disable different controller settings, like enabling or disabling the touchpad. Under here, we also have some quick system settings. You can add an external display after that, and then there's a whole help center in case you need any additional information. Clicking these back into place is very easy. And you can definitely hear that responsive click whenever you put them back on your controller. Now, when holding it with the controllers attached, it's honestly pretty lightweight, like surprisingly so. It's only 1.88 pounds, and even though the display is kind of a monster, it does not fatigue me to hold it over a long period of time. The biggest fatigue I have is just the size of the controllers, and I know what you're thinking. Yeah, the controllers are a little girthy. Oh, hey, let's change the subject. You can subscribe to my channel if you want. I do tech reviews and I talk about security and privacy to help you make the best decisions for your wallet. Huge thank you to my Patreon and YouTube membership s'mores who keep my channel going every single week. And you also get early access to videos along with a bunch of other perks. Moving on to the screen. So the screen has a 500 nits brightness. That is lower than a lot of smartphones that I review. I ended up turning it up to 100% for some of those darker in-game moments. It's a nice 16:10 aspect ratio. I really like the aspect ratio. It's also 2560 by 1600 resolution at the most, but you can lower that for battery. It is an IPS display. It is built with Corning Gorilla Glass 5. Now that is a little bit older. It's not Victus, so you may want to consider a screen protector if carrying this around a lot without the case. I am very much into RPG and adventure games, especially on console, so if I suck on Resident Evil 4, that's why in this video. But since this is an IPS screen, I wanted to test something that has deep contrast and blacks. OLED does a lot better with these historically, but would I see a difference on an IPS screen? And to be honest, this 9-inch screen still looks stunningly beautiful. The biggest concern here is those deeper blacks, but overall, customizing the settings helps in those scenes. Now, unfortunately, there is no VRR or variable refresh rate. You can totally toggle between 60 and 144 hertz, which can definitely help with some of that battery drain, but it would help with some of the screen tearing that I noticed in game if it was VRR. Okay, so with that said, let's talk about game performance and battery. So the battery is a 49.2 watt hour. It supports super rapid charge. Now this means that you could do a 10-minute charge and get you up to 30%. A 30-minute charge will get you from 0 to 70% capacity, and an 80-minute charge will get you all the way up to 100%. I noticed that when in standby mode, if I did not turn it off, Windows 11 just totally drains the battery pretty quickly. So anytime you are not using it, just shut it off completely or put it back on the charger. When I was downloading games and updating the machine, I got about 2 hours of charge till it hit 10% left. Now this is completely on standard settings. So if you switch to performance mode, you're going to get a bit less battery, and quiet mode will rack you about half an hour more. When I was playing games on battery, I saw about the same. The battery quickly fell over the course of a 2-hour playtime, so that's what I would average, is about 2 hours with this. When I was on battery, I noticed a lot of screen tearing and lag in my games, even with Horizon Zero Dawn, which is a few years old now. The FPS fell, which I was tracking in the upper corner of my screen, and it did not give me the most beautiful experience, even though the game is really gorgeous. So then I plugged it in and I noticed such a huge improvement. I still noticed a little bit of screen tearing, a little bit of lag, but those issues drastically dropped compared to when it's on battery. Many games will require you to lower their graphics quality to really get the best performance out of this handheld gaming platform. Internally, the AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme is built for the handheld market. It manages thermals, graphics quality, battery life. It also leverages the Zen 4 tech and RDNA 3 graphics. Plus, there is some AI also built in, which can help boost performance and give you some great ray tracing. But much of the boost in quality are most noticeable whenever it's plugged in. So I had the best time using this whenever I plugged it in next to my couch, and I used it on my couch. Not when I was walking around my house and testing it. In my opinion, it didn't really get that hot, up to 30 watt TDP. The thermals are well taken care of via the ventilation in the back, through this perforated galvanized steel, and the air is pushed out through the top vents. You can definitely hear it though. Sometimes it does sound like it's a jet plane trying to take off and fly away into the distant mountains here in Colorado, but it's not too bad. In comparison to some of the gaming PCs and laptops that I have used, this one is a lot quieter. Then we have the RAM, which is 16 gig LPDDR5X RAM at 7500 megahertz. Now this is upgraded from LPDDR5 to give you better efficiency and higher data rates. The 1 terabyte M.2 upgradable storage is also included, which can bank you several different games, but having that microSD card reader also available is such a great move by Lenovo. So we know that the biggest competitor to this is probably the ROG Ally, which also plays all the PC games from all the different publishers. In many ways, the two devices are extremely similar side by side spec-wise, but the removable controllers were a big hit in my group of friends. Everybody was surprised, and when I did that, they were like, oh my god, that's so cool. Even with that battery that doesn't last very long, I have loved playing my PC games while chilling in my living room. Just setting this thing up on my coffee table and then using the controllers handheld was such a nice experience. Now, it is nice to not be stuck on my PC in my studio whenever I want to hang out with my husband after work and still play games while he's playing on his PC. As a first gen device, Lenovo made a lot of smart moves with this, and it is going to be really, really cool to see how this market ages.